Ecuador's election authority has declared incumbent President Daniel Noboa the winner of Sunday's presidential runoff. His supporters have been celebrating after what was expected to be a tightly fought race between the centre-right incumbent and his leftist rival, Luisa Gonzalez. She's calling for a recount and says there's been a grotesque electoral fraud. Well, our Latin America editor, Lucia Newman, joins us from the Ecuadorian capital, Quito. Lucia, so the election authority has declared Noboa the winner. How's this being received then by both sides?
Well, certainly by Noboa's supporters, they are jubilant. They're very happy about the results. No one really was expecting it. According to the Electoral Authority, after 90% of the votes were cast, Noboa is the indisputable winner with more than 10 percentage points ahead of Luisa Gonzalez. This is very surprising because all of the polls, as well as the campaigns themselves, were calling this practically a dead heat with a difference of up to 3 percentage points maximum between both candidates. So this is certainly more than Noboa could have ever hoped for. He's called this election a historic victory. He spoke from his beach house on the Pacific coast of Ecuador. He's not here in the capital. However, Luisa Gonzalez is calling this a fraud. She spoke before some of her supporters, lots of long faces there, as you can imagine. But she says that because of what the polls had shown, this has to be a fraud, and she is demanding a recount. Now, a short while ago, the head of the Electoral Authority passed through here. This is where the center was set up for the elections. And she says that if she has any proof of her allegations, she needs to present it to the courts.
Yeah, Lucia, and in terms of the main issues which have dominated this election, Noboa is going to have a huge challenge on his hands as he tries to take on rising violence and organised crime across the country.
Absolutely. There is no doubt that what anybody who could have won this election is going to have to face is monumental. He's already been in office, remember, for 18 months after a snap election that was called by his predecessor. So he has an idea already of what he's facing. He hasn't been able to make much of a dent in organized crime or in the homicide rate in this country, or poverty for that matter. But he says that's because he hasn't had enough time. Now he's going to have 4 years. And one of the things he plans to do is to bring U.S. soldiers, if possible. He's asked Donald Trump, whom he's very close to help Ecuador fight organized crime by sending troops here, and also by opening up a military base, a U.S. military base that had been shut down almost 8 years ago.
To many, Daniel Noboa was nothing more than a spoiled member of one of Ecuador's wealthiest families when he was surprisingly chosen to finish the second half of the previous president's term in a snap election. For the last 18 months, the world's youngest president has shown, if nothing else, that his priority is tackling organized crime, his country's worst nightmare.
En este momento vivimos una guerra.
We are witnessing an unconventional war, a war that impacts our neighborhoods, our provinces. It affects Ecuador's tranquility.
Noboa is a conservative who says he'll hold a referendum to overhaul the current constitution, written under a left-wing government, except for the article that allows citizens born abroad to run for president. 37-year-old Noboa was born in Miami, studied business administration, and then political strategic communication at Harvard. He joined his family's multi-billion-dollar banana business before entering politics 3 years ago, and won the 2023 snap elections by using TikTok to bring out young voters disgruntled with corruption and lack of opportunities. So far, Noboa hasn't succeeded in reducing crime or increasing formal employment, or stopping a mass exodus of Ecuadorians fleeing unbridled violence. But he's bold. Shortly before this election, Noboa visited President Donald Trump, offering to allow U.S. troops to set up a base in Ecuador to fight drug traffickers. He also says he convinced Trump to take Ecuadorian migrants off the U.S. priority deportation list.
What we told him was that we need his help in the fight against crime and narco-terrorism, because this has evolved into narco-terrorism and it's a transnational problem.
But he's gone further, announcing a strategic alliance with Arab Prince. the founder of the highly controversial private military firm Blackwater. In fact, Prince was here campaigning and warning that Ecuador would turn into Venezuela unless Noboa was re-elected.
It's an unprecedented move in this region, where its youngest and wealthiest president will have 4 more years to prove himself. Lucia, Newman, Al Jazeera, Quito.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.